Hi everyone, my name is Chloe Gosiewski from One Way Journey. Welcome to this video, which is all about how to manage the stress of traveling. I'm going to jump straight in. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at what stress is and ways to manage it. Now, travel can cause stress and anxiety, both prior to leaving and, of course, whilst you're away, which is why working with a travel coach can be really beneficial because they will teach you the different ways to manage stress and anxiety so that you can spend more time enjoying your experience. But let's just jump right in because I'm hoping that with this video I can sort of give you some pointers of where to get started to help you. Because I don't believe that stress should hold anybody back or ruin anybody's travel experiences whatsoever. So hopefully you'll gain something from this. If of course you would like to work with me one-to-one in a travel coaching session, you can check out my website, which is www.onewayjourney.com. But let's crack straight on. So let's first have a look at what is stress. So for those of you who aren't aware already, stress is the body's reaction to feeling threatened or under pressure in some way. So it can come from any event or thought that makes you feel frustrated, angry, nervous. And in small doses, stress can actually be a positive thing. It's true, it can. For example, it can help you to avoid danger or meet a deadline, for example, like catching a flight or a bus when you're traveling. But when stress lasts for a long time, it can harm your health and cause or aggravate certain problems. For example, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, depression and or anxiety, skin problems such as acne or eczema, or menstrual problems. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an insight for me personally. So, stress affects all of us, myself included. Yes, I have learned ways to kind of manage that stress. I had been working with, I'd seen a doctor and seeing a dietitian. And actually, what I hadn't realized is because I feel like I'm absolutely fine, but stress for me was actually coming out. I was working probably a little bit too hard. And for me, it's coming out in skin problems and issues with my digestive system. And it took me quite a long while to figure that out. That's what it is. So stress affects us all in different ways, and I think the important thing is that you understand how stress is showing up in your life for you, so that you can start to handle stress in a much more effective and healthy way. So if you already have a health condition, then chronic stress can make it a whole lot worse. Now, it's really important that I mentioned that if you have any of these symptoms that we're going to go through in a few moments, that you do get help from a doctor. But determining your stress levels is something that you can do, start working on yourself at home. And this is physically, it's mentally and emotionally. So physically in your body, mentally here, and emotionally in the way that you're feeling. So like I say, in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the ways in which stress presents itself. This can then help you to determine what your own stress levels are and how that's showing up in your own body. Again, if these symptoms are persistent or they're affecting your ability to function properly, then I really highly recommend that you book an appointment with your doctor for diagnosis and treatment. It's important for you to be able to recognize how it's showing up in your life and how it affects your health and well-being. It's important. We all need to understand how everything is affecting us. We all need to understand our bodies, our minds, our feelings. It's so important. And throughout all the videos that I do, we're going to be talking about all these different things because it's important that you understand what makes you tick, what you value in life, how you feel, how certain situations make you feel, and how that presents in your body. So Let's first have a look at the physical effects of high stress levels, because they can represent themselves in increased frequency of the following things. So it can be headaches, constantly having a headache, overwhelming tiredness, insomnia or trouble sleeping. I know for me personally, when I'm stressed, I wake up in the middle of the night. It's just, I don't know why. And it will just be like clockwork, and it will happen until I start getting on top of it and start, getting on top of the stress and maintaining it. And then I do naturally go back to sleeping all through the night again. Difficulty concentrating. Have you ever had that where you're just like, no matter how many times you read a line over and over again, it's just not going in, or someone's talking to you and you're just not with it. It could be, tight muscles or tension. Oh, I get it here. Sometimes I can really do with a massage. Actually, I feel like I could do with a massage now, to be honest with you. But that's because I'm sat at a desk quite a lot, guys. It's not good. You need to get out and do some exercise. I certainly need to get out and do more exercise, that's for sure. And also another way that it could be shown for you is loss of sexual desire and or ability. So again, if you're stressed, it can have such a huge impact on certain areas of your life, and understanding that that's what's causing it, you can then start treating it, the issue of stress in itself. High blood pressure is a common symptom of stress, but please seek medical advice if you experience this problem, and that's something you're aware of. Please go to the doctor and get medical advice and treatment from that. Psychological and emotional effects of high stress levels are things like feelings like feeling worried, negative feelings, pessimistic feelings, feeling nervous or anxious all the time. Just it kind of really sometimes can get to a point where it stops you from even doing anything. Feeling helpless, low self-esteem, overworked, not in control, underappreciated, all of those feelings. So you could have a mixture of those things, and they could represent themselves at different times. For me personally, I quite often get worried. When I'm stressed, I worry about things that aren't even the source of my stress. I just start worrying, and I kind of feel I get headaches, and I have the problem sleeping. So I know when those things start showing up in my life, I know that I'm under stress and I need to take a step back and review what's going on around me, like what is out of balance here and what do I need to do to put it in right, because I understand how my body is presenting those feelings of stress, and that's what you also would need to understand if you don't already. So behavioral effects of high stress levels then is showing signs of procrastination. That's a big one. Impatience, short temper, unproductive, taking work home with you, which is obviously completely unbalanced and do not recommend that. Withdrawal, distancing yourself from your loved ones, your friends and your family, complaining frequently, like being a moaning myrtle. Is that from Harry Potter? That's me sometimes too. And bursts of anger, rage, so if any of those are, you can connect with any of those, make a note of these things. How does stress show up for you? In those three ways, both physically, mentally, emotionally, how is stress showing up for you? Because it helps you to then identify what levels you are, how bad things are, and when it does show up, what it is and how to kind of go about managing it and getting on top of it. So we're going to have a look now at how to reduce stress. So firstly, managing stress across all areas of your life, including travel. My number one place to start is with self-care. More specifically, creating a self-care action plan. Here's the thing. Self-care is about considering your needs. It's about knowing what you need to do to feel good, to feel rested, to feel worthy. When you are relaxed, rested, healthy, in good mind, you are able to handle stress and stressful situations much more effectively. If you are tired, run down, overworked, understimulated, then it's more likely that your body will react to feeling threatened or under pressure in certain situations. Have you ever had a build-up of emotions, like a build-up of stress, then one small minor thing happens, like you drop a spoon on the floor and you completely fall apart? You know, why has this always happened to me? I'm having such a bad day. Probably a few swear words thrown in there as well, especially from me. You scream, you shout, maybe cry, and you can literally feel your stress exploding out of your body. Dealing with stress is easier if you have first identified where you are out of balance. Then once you've identified what aspects of your life are out of balance and needs getting back on track, you can then create yourself a roadmap of which is kind of like a guide really, that will help you guide you along and keep you on track. So if you were to create this plan before you reach that crisis point, you'll be able to maintain a healthier, balanced and balanced life and deal with overwhelming situations much easier. In terms of getting yourself a plan, this looks like, this is something that I work with any of my one-to-one clients that specifically are struggling with stress and wanting to work on a plan to get themselves a roadmap really of understanding what their triggers are, how it's representing, and what that they can do before it reaches that point where you have total meltdown. So that's something that you can start putting together. Go through what we've already mentioned previously, understand what those triggers are, understand where in your life is out of balance at the moment. And this is looking at your emotional needs, your physical needs. Are you getting enough exercise? Are you eating the right food? Drinking plenty of water? Your emotional needs, how are you feeling? Are you checking in with yourself? Are you meditating? Mental needs, like again, are you being stimulated mentally? Are you around your love? Are you connecting with other people, seeing friends? Are you isolated? Like, what is your situation right now? What is out of balance? And find out and put yourself a plan of action of where to start really, because like I say, it's really important. Stress is more likely to fire up somebody who's already out of balance in all those places. When it comes down to traveling, there's a few things that you can do to ensure that the the stressful situations don't come about as easy. The first thing that I will say is plan ahead. Check your airline's website before you leave home. Google in advance and find out roughly how much a taxi would cost, for example. So you can find out roughly. There's lots of different blog posts and information that you can find. If you're landing somewhere and you have to get a taxi or a bus or something, find out. Somebody will have put information, if not the actual airport or something themselves, will tell you how much a taxi or something is going to be and where to get it from when you get there. Just plan ahead a little bit. Change some money into the currency of the country before you leave, so that you know that you've got some cash on you when you need it when you get there. Also, learn the currency before you go. My friend a few years ago, bless her, on a trip, she didn't research the Croatian currency and she ended up paying £14 for a lighter, like a cigarette lighter, in a train station shop. So do your research before you go. It's just I can't tell you how important it is to just spend a little bit of extra time. It's exciting doing that anyway. I love that part of planning for travel, is finding out all the little bits that you need to know. It just is so useful to be ahead of it. Just be ahead of knowing where you're going really. Just plan a little bit. Another thing is find out how far your accommodation is from the airport or the train station. So, for example, some hostels will actually give you, will tell you what buses to get, or what, how long it takes you to walk from somewhere to there. So yeah, just check that how far it is, roughly how much it's going to cost you, and find out what time the hostel or the hotel check-in times are. So just prepare yourself for the unknown. um when I went to Italy a couple of years ago, my check-in, it was a really weird check-in times actually for this particular hostel. I feel like they were closed most of the time. But obviously I showed up and they had just closed. Like by the time I'd got there, they'd just closed, like, I don't know, about 40 minutes beforehand, and it was so annoying, and they were shut all afternoon. But because I'd seen online and I knew, I was sitting on the train and looked at the time, I was like, I've missed check-in. Like I knew that was going to get there. If I'd got there, and I'm not kidding you, the hill, I was in Manarola in Italy, in Cinque Terre, and the hill, I was at the top of the hill. If anyone's been to Manarola, I was at the top. And I lugged my stuff all the way up there. It was really, really hot. I'd been traveling all day. I'd like flown obviously into Genoa and kind of come down on the train. And I lugged my thing up there. And if I had got there and I was not already aware, I probably would have felt so stressed out. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't get into the hostel. This is what a rubbish hostel this is, just because I hadn't checked. But I wasn't. I knew. I got up there. I did go up there to the hostel, and I thought, I'm going to see if I can drop my bags off at the very least, or see if there's anywhere, and I couldn't. But I accepted it. So I went down, went for a little wander, got myself something to eat and a glass of red wine. Day drinking, love it. And then, yeah, sat there just watching the world go by. And then by the time it come to check in, off I went, got in there. I'd had a lovely afternoon, just sitting, like, watching the people go by, having some nice cheese platter and some lovely red wine. Little bit drunk I was. So yeah, I was merry. But it could have been a different situation had I not been aware that the check-in times, it could have had a completely different outcome. So just be prepared. Another thing, pack smart. Don't do what I did and pack 10 pairs of high heels, which I never wore, and ended up winding me when I got lost walking around in Colombia trying to find my hostel. So I actually, originally, when I went to Panama, I had a massive suitcase, like a huge suitcase with so much stuff, which I ended up ditching. I left it in the hostel in Panama City. Shout out to El Machico. They let me leave my all my stuff in their store cupboard for a few months while I went off gallivanting through the rest of Central America. And I got myself a backpack, and I still kept on, like, I just was really adamant that I might wear this pair of high heel shoes. I never wore them, like, ever. And in fact, I had my my slippers. I did have my slippers actually, because I take my slippers everywhere. My flip-flops and my diving shoes, and that was pretty much it. So these high heels that I took, that I thought I was going to be wearing everywhere, and of course my trainers as well. So yeah, just don't do what I did. Take a lightweight waterproof coat with you. I did not. I was a fool. I was not smart. So definitely take a lightweight waterproof coat. It doesn't matter where you're going. Rain is everywhere. Trust me, I know. Also pack. Oh, this is a big one. Pack before you leave, especially if you're backpacking or moving around. Like, get your shit together the night before. There is nothing worse than trying to find your stuff in the dark. If you're in a hostel, for example, a dorm room, there's nothing worse than trying to find your stuff in the dark, waking everyone up in the dorm, and you can hear them like tutting and sighing. You can't find anything. You're in a rush, or you're losing things or leaving them behind. Just get yourself ready before you need to be ready. Get yourself ready before you need to be ready, because just that preparation of knowing I'm leaving tomorrow. Get your stuff ready. Just have out what you need to get ready in the morning: your toothbrush, a towel if you're having a shower, the clothes that you're going to be wearing. Then you can just put that stuff all in the bag. Bosh, you're gone. Just be smart. Pack smart, be prepared. And And the other thing is look after yourself. Look after your body, eat well, get some rest, meditate. Because here's the thing, when you travel, it can be really full on. You're trying to see as much as possible, you're in a different surrounding, you're probably quite active a lot, you're going out sightseeing, so you're doing lots of walking or hiking and things like that. But just try and get some sleep and some relaxation in, because you'll only burn yourself out and make yourself poorly if you don't. So just a key thing is just to look after yourself, be conscious of your body and of your mind, and just make sure that you are looking after you and that you are okay, because at the end of the day it will just ruin your trip if you make yourself poorly. You make yourself ill, run yourself down, you end up then being out of action for quite a few days. So mind your mindset is basically what I'm saying. Then my biggest, and I believe this to be the most powerful piece of advice I can give you, and it's something that I swear by, is let go of any expectation or specific outcome. When you have an expectation of how something will work, what you are going, what you're doing is limiting yourself from a wide range of experiences. If you expect something to play out in a certain way and it doesn't, you immediately feel disappointed and maybe stressed as well. You say, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to go with whatever the universe feels is for my highest good, whatever, I'm just going to go, and whatever happens is going to happen. I'm just going to enjoy it anyway. You will have a completely different travel experience, and you will be surprised by what can really happen when you relinquish that control, and the need to have everything go in a certain way. I believe, in fact, I don't believe, I know that I have been on the most incredible adventures based on that very attitude. And I look back at the hiccups and I think, I was so calm. And I have been known to have a meltdown over dropping a spoon on the floor. So when you are open to surprise, what you're actually doing is you're opening up to life, to experience. Oh, it's exciting. It's giving me shivers. If you do find yourself in stress mode, then there are a few ways to manage this on the spot. So I'm just going to go through a few of those for you guys. So, these are things that I would do myself, and they're things that I recommend to my clients to do. The first one is breathing exercises. And I know it sounds so simple, but it's so effective. I will share a few different breathing exercises with you so that you can use them for your own repertoire. I'm just going to have a little sip of my water first. I love these. They keep it really cold. So one of the breathing exercise then is the 4-7-8 one. So the 4-7-8 is a wonderful exercise to instantly calm stress and anxiety. So close your mouth and inhale deeply through your nose to a mental count of 4. And then you hold your breath for a count of 7. And exhale through your mouth. I didn't do that right. You exhale through your mouth for the count of 8. So repeat this for about 3 or 6 breaths, depending how stressed you are. But okay, here we go. So you're just breathing in, you're holding it in that stillness, and then you're pushing all the air out for a longer period. So do that about 3 or 6 times. I have no idea what I looked like when I was doing that then, probably not great. The next one is balloon breathing. So imagine that there's a balloon in your belly. So there's a balloon, you know what a balloon is, like a party balloon. And as you take a deep breath in, you can feel the balloon filling up with air. And just keep breathing. until your balloon is nice and big. So every time you're breathing in, the air is going into your balloon. And then when your balloon is nice and big, take one last big breath in, and as you exhale, push the air out through your mouth completely. And as you do, feel that balloon getting smaller and smaller. So the final breath is when you're going to push it out. The final breathing technique that I'd like to share with you is the breath movement. So you can do any of these ones, you can switch them up, whichever you kind of feel comfortable doing, really. And there's loads of different breathing exercises. These aren't just the only 3 there are out there. There's so many different ones. But the breath movement is you breathe in deeply and you feel the air travel all around your body. So each breath moves along through your arms, through your abdomen, your hips, your legs, your feet. And then as you exhale, imagine all of the worry and fear and stress being released from your body. So each breath moves through the body. It collects with it all the tension, all the anxiety, all the stress. And then through the exhalation, it's all pushed out. So in. And then release it all. Get out of my body. Another then, so that's your breathing exercises. Some other ways to manage the stress is to journal, write down how you're feeling, what you're thinking. If you don't have a notebook on you, and the chances are if this happens, when you're actually traveling and you can feel a bit stressed, you're probably not going to have a notebook to hand. What you probably will have though is your mobile phone. So I would recommend using the notes feature to write down. I have so many notes in my phone from my travels going right back to 2016. They are various things from, how I was feeling, what somebody said to me, the name of somebody that I met or something they said, and also random song lyrics. So yeah, because prior to my travels, I was a singer, a songwriter in a band. So I still do have things come to my head and I write them down. So there's just a random mix of all sorts of stuff. When I was sitting on a bus on a long journey, you just write certain stuff down and become aware of it. And journaling while you're away is really, really good because it helps you to process. And we spoke about journaling in the last video. So remember this movement. It kind of helps you to get that your thoughts and your feelings and that anxiety under control, so that when stressful situations do come about, you're actually already prepared because you're already aware of, like, you're in a stronger position. Also stretch daily. If you feel stressed, just deep breath in and just big stretch. Oh, just stretch it out. Oh, that feels good. So if you find yourself, I'm just whacked my hand then. If you find yourself in a stressful situation, you're feeling a bit stressed, just stretch it out. Deep breath in, stretch your body, shake it out. It's going to be okay. And the last kind of bit of advice I'd give you, and it's last but not least by no means, is ask for help. There's so many of us, we just kind of want to go through life, doing it ourselves, or maybe out of fear to ask for help in case somebody might reject you or not help you or something like that. There are billions of people on this planet, and there are some incredibly nice, helpful people, and you never know where a conversation, when you ask for help, where that might lead. What somebody else, what they might tell you. When you get lost and you stop and ask somebody for directions, if they know where something is, they end up telling you about other places, if they speak the same language as you and you're able to communicate. Obviously it gets a little bit tricky if there's nobody around that speaks English, like for me. But you can get around it because there is this language, there's a universal language that people tend to understand without actually using words. It's very, very strange. You may experience this when you go away. It's definitely something I picked up on, a universal language, which is no words. I also became very good at charades. I was trying to ask, I remember once, what time the hot water came on, and I was going, that was my, he got it. That was my attempt at, like, what time does the hot water come on for a shower? You guys didn't get what that was, did you? I got better as the time went on, though, with my charades. But again, ask for help. There is always going to be a way for you to get help, so ask for it. And if you're feeling stressed, you know, and you need to speak to somebody, or you want to work with somebody like a travel coach, for example, just reach out, ask for help. You're not on this planet on your own. There is always going to be people that can help you with whatever it is that you need. Anyway, I have done enough talking today, so thank you so much for sticking with me throughout that. I hope there's been some useful information there that you can take away. Like I say, if you wanted to work with me one-to-one, you can check out my website, which is www.onewayjourney.com. And there is also a Be Travel Confident course, which I've got a link to in the description if you wanted to take a look at that. It is an absolute bargain. And of course, I've got lots of other videos, so go check those out. Subscribe, click the subscribe button if you want. If you don't, it's fine. It helps me if you do. And also you get to see all the future videos that come up as well. So, and of course, give the video a like if you liked it. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whatever time it is when you're looking at this. And I hope that you can find something useful to take forward. But thanks so much, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.